Ever get the feeling like the future is right around the corner?
Yeah.
Closer than we think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today we're diving into a story that might just make you a believer.
Okay.
We're talking about Rose.
Rose.
Yeah, a young woman in Argentina who calls herself a robot girl.
And she doesn't just mean that, like, figuratively.
Right, like we're working from this radio interview you sent us.
Yeah.
And it is something else.
Right.
It's not like some polished, TED Talk tech presentation.
Right.
It's more like just a casual conversation, a little awkward at times,
Sure.
where Rose is claiming to have an AI chip, implanted in her spine.
Wow. See, that's a claim that really, it taps into this whole cultural moment that we're in right now. AI is everywhere.
Right.
Transhumanism is gaining traction, and even just the very idea of, like, what it means to be human feels, I don't know, fluid in a way.
Yeah.
Ethically, of course, we can't really, like, diagnose Rose from afar.
Right.
But we can listen to what she's saying and kind of, dissect those claims, explore why they resonate so strongly.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so you're picturing this interview.
Yeah.
Rose, she describes feeling robotic since she was a kid, like this deep sense of not belonging. And then at 18, she gets this chip implanted.
And it's fascinating how she connects that, like, that decision to her music.
Right.
It's like the chip became this, like, catalyst for her to express this feeling of being different, of not fitting in, right? Which, honestly, like, it's something I think a lot of us have probably felt at some point, that sense of being out of sync with the world. But, she's taken it to, like, a whole other level.
Yeah.
It's pretty out there.
Okay, but tell me this isn't intriguing. She goes into all these details about the chip. Like, it gives her telepathic ability. It monitors her health.
Uh-huh.
It even filters out, like, unwanted people, like a mental spam folder.
A spam folder for people. Wow. That's quite an image, isn't it? Like, I mean, that really speaks to this desire we have for total control, I think, over our social interactions.
Oh, yeah.
Which, technology is making more and more possible, right?
Really.
But even putting aside, like, the question of whether this is, does this technology actually exist, it makes you wonder, like, if we could control our social interactions so completely, would we even want to? What would that say about, our need for, like, genuine human connection?
Yeah. It's a lot to unpack there.
And it gets even wilder, right? She talks about, like, her robot dog, Chucho.
A robot dog.
Yeah, and, like, needing liquid metal injections.
What?
From engineers, like, to keep her body from rusting.
Okay, hold on.
It's a lot.
It's all very detailed, very specific.
Very.
Which, on the one hand, it makes you wonder, like, is this for real?
Right.
We're talking about technology that's, like, light years ahead of anything we have.
Right.
A chip that can, like, manage your entire body.
It's a lot.
That feels like science fiction.
Right. And there are these inconsistencies, too. It's like, if this chip is, running her whole system.
Why is she still eating? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And why even worry about getting, like, a virus?
Right.
If you're a self-proclaimed robot. Like, these little things, they make you question how much of this is, like, literal.
Yeah.
How much of it is, metaphorical.
Yeah, and that's what's so interesting, because even if, like, Rose's story isn't, literally true.
Right.
It still taps into something, I don't know, very real.
Oh, absolutely.
About our relationship with technology today.
Totally.
This desire for, like, control, for enhancement, for, escaping the messiness of being human.
100%. And this whole liquid metal thing, like, true or not,
Right.
that speaks to this very transhumanist desire to modify the body,
Yeah.
to push it beyond its natural limits. And we see this playing out in real life, right? Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Things like Neuralink, gene editing.
Yeah.
This constant push to merge with technology.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. And I think Rose's story, even if it's, fictionalized to some degree, it taps into these anxieties.
Totally.
But also maybe, like, aspirations
that
are out there right now.
It's like she's taken these anxieties we all have about technology and kind of turned it into, like, this performance.
Yes.
This persona.
Exactly. And that raises the question, right? Is this, like, elaborate performance art?
Right.
is she using this like outlandish story as a commentary on the very technology she's claiming to, embody?
Right.
It's a question worth considering, especially when you look at the reactions she's getting. Oh, totally. Yeah, some people are like completely dismissing her.
Sure.
But then there are those who are just fascinated.
Right.
Like they're drawn to her music, her whole like persona.
Yeah. Which, that brings us to social media, right?
Of course.
This is where that line between reality and performance, it gets so blurry. I mean, we're constantly curating our lives online right now.
Always.
Presenting these idealized versions of ourselves. In a way, aren't we all kind of creating these like digital personas?
It's like she's just like taken it to the extreme.
Yeah.
And just been like, you know what? If I have to be a robot to navigate this digital world,
right,
fine, I'll be the ultimate robot.
Exactly. And what's so interesting is like, even though she's chosen this very like extreme persona, it still resonates.
Yeah, it does.
Her story resonates with people. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Maybe because we like kind of all feel that pull.
Yeah.
Between like who we really are.
Right.
And then this like persona we create online. Yeah. It's like this pressure.
Yeah.
To filter, to edit, to present this like perfect, almost robotic version of ourselves.
And it makes you wonder, like, at what point does that online persona, become more real than who we are offline?
Yeah.
Like, are we all becoming a little less human,
It's kind of like this weird mind trip.
It is.
And Rose's story, whether it's like real performance or, somewhere in between.
Yeah.
It makes us think about all these like really complex questions.
It does.
About like identity in the digital age.
Oh, absolutely. And it also, I think it highlights our anxieties about AI in general, right?
Where?
I mean, here's this like young woman who's claiming to have like merged with AI.
Right.
And she's using it to create art, to like express her individuality in a way.
Yeah.
And it throws like fuel on the fire of all these bigger questions, right? Like, will AI, will it make us more human or less human, ultimately?
Yeah.
Will it enhance us? Will it replace us?
Right. And it's not just like AI even. Like you were saying, that whole idea of the liquid metal injections needing engineers to like fix her body.
Yeah.
It speaks to this whole like desire, right?
Yeah.
To like transcend our limitations.
Totally, like to push the boundaries of what we even consider human. Right? Like, where does that end? And that's where I think the ethical considerations come in, right?
Yeah.
Like, what does it mean for a society that's, more and more like comfortable with this idea of merging with technology?
Right.
Where do you draw the line?
Totally.
And these aren't just, like hypothetical questions anymore.
Right.
These are questions that we need answers to.
Yeah.
Like soon.
Like yesterday, maybe?
Yay, exactly.
It's like she's this like walking, talking thought experiment,
Yeah.
Forcing us to like confront the future.
Yeah.
Whether we're ready or not.
And maybe that's like the most compelling thing about this whole story, right?
Yeah.
It's unsettling, it's bizarre, but it's also like deeply thought-provoking, It makes you ask these big kind of uncomfortable questions.
Yeah.
About like technology, identity, like what does it even mean to be human, in the 21st century?
Big questions.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we have any like answers for you today.
Yeah, I don't know if we do either.
But hopefully we've like given you a lot to think about.
And maybe that's the point of a deep dive like this, right? It's like to spark some curiosity.
Yeah.
To challenge some assumptions.
Totally.
And maybe leave you with more questions than answers.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Now, we know Rose has like, made some pretty wild claims in this interview.
Right.
Like knowing other self-identified robots.
Okay.
So who knows? Maybe there's a whole community of them out there. Maybe we'll meet them one day. But for now, we encourage you to do your own digging. If you're curious.
Yeah.
Check out her music. See what you make of it.
And ask yourself, like, if technology keeps blurring these lines, right?
Yeah.
Between human and machine, what will it even mean to be human in the future?
It's a good question. Food for thought.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
Keep those curious minds engaged, and we'll see you next time.